I don't know, I'm just a big advocate of looking after your staff, and yeah, we're lucky. We won Imbibes Bar Team of the Year, we've won Bar Manager of the Year, and we've got awards coming out our fucking ears. But like, I think the thing that makes me proud is that like, it's not, I've never won an award that this is the best cocktail in the world, because realistically, it's a fucking cocktail. I'd rather be working with happy people, creating a good community, because I think that's just a better sort of light leading forward than this one great drink this one time. It's like, yeah, we're known for producing good bartenders, we're known for producing good working environments. Like, people should gravitate towards that.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the Birmingham Food Podcast that is Breaking Bread, presented by...
Watch ya! Get straight now. Everyone knows the names.
Don't even hold back. That was Carl.
Yeah, getting involved.
I'm his co-host Liam. Two childhood friends obsessed with food.
And Birmingham, yeah.
And Birmingham,
it's a good mix, man.
It's a perfect mix. Seeing as Birmingham's now getting known to be the food place.
It is.
Yeah.
Catching up. Well, it's not catching up with London. It's never going to catch up with London for volume and stuff.
It lives in our mind. We love it more than London.
But there's more stuff than I can go to at the moment in Birmingham.
Yeah.
Like, my list is really long of places still to go.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Couple of new openings.
Yeah, where have you been, boy?
Low Water. Obviously a big fan of that, man. I went,
you went without me,
got the t-shirt for the crowdfunding, went with Ava, took Neve instead.
No, I didn't get the invite.
I thought Neve would eat less than you did, but she didn't. She ate all my food.
You want to take paying customers, mate? New business.
I know, she's freebie.
I'll just go ahead and give my wallet over and just say, just give me everything.
I will do that. I was planning on having dinner somewhere, so I was like, I don't really want to eat loads. I just want to eat a little bit. So I just got the dumplings, because why would you not get dumplings? And awesome. Cucumber. I'm mad for cucumber, man. Anything spicy like fermented cucumber. There's fermented fungi on it. Oh, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, like a smashed cucumber.
Yeah,
that's one of my favourite things that when you get to
just that
place like smashed cucumber.
The flavour they like bang into that is unbelievable. And then obviously the dumplings were great. There was rice cakes, fried rice cakes, lamb shoulder. Next time I'm getting 2 of them. And then
mate, next time I'll come in with a shoulder everything.
Yeah, we'll definitely do that. King's Eve, mate. King's Eve, just ridiculous. Like
King's Eve. That's what I love about King's Eve. One of them places. It's sort of, it's not a new venue. Like, there's always been stuff in King. Even when like Moseley was at its peak, there was still stuff in King's Eve.
Not much though.
No, but you still had like the Harehounds been there and other pubs and stuff. And
now you got the Dukes, Schooners, Grace and James.
Yeah, man, it's a good place to open somewhere. I think it's pretty consistent.
Pause. Went to Pause. Obviously, can't go to King's Eve without going and seeing Rory and Farah.
Gotta go there, ain't you? Cinnabuffing, man.
Gotta go for the hugs.
Yeah, man.
Going for the hugs.
Some of the best coffee you can get.
Some of the best coffee.
And we went Poli the other day.
Went Poli as well. Poli.
Right, that was my first time.
Can't believe that was your first time.
I was a Poli virgin.
I love Poli. Absolutely. The sides, mate. Then lamb fat roast potatoes.
Oh, mate. You know what? The sides, like, the pizza's great. The sides are equally as good.
Better, I think. The sides, like, just ridiculous.
The Marmite garlic bread, that was fantastic. Oh, mate, there's nothing they're selling that's not fantastic.
Just King's Eve. Love King's Eve, man.
Yeah,
absolutely love it.
It's always been good for me.
Today's episode is obviously with Tommy.
Yeah, my boy Tommy.
Tommy is just ridiculous, man. If you don't know, everyone surely knows Tommy by now, but obviously he was with Couch. He helped open Couch. And before that, I always explain to people at work, because they don't know much about food or drink, but everyone knows the Edgbaston Boutique Hotel. So when I say, the old bar manager from the Edgbaston Boutique Hotel, they go, the cocktails there were banging. Yeah, Tommy was a part of that.
That's what I mean. That man got me through lockdown, and I'm not joking. Like, I think we talk about it in the podcast. During lockdown, I'm not going to lie, I struggled. I mean, I was out working every day, but I was still not seeing anyone.
Yeah.
But I was getting Ox and Origin delivered every Sunday, and it was with Tommy's Cocktails. So every Sunday morning, I'd get a knock on the door, and it'd be Tommy with a big bag of food from Ox and Origin, which was unreal. and a load of cocktails for me to drink. So cocktails became as like my Sunday staple. And I got to talk to him, which was nice. I'd barely seen anyone. The only people I've seen through lockdown to have to deliver stuff was them. So I'd seen Tommy quite a lot. I've seen Wine Freedom a fair bit. And Attic, when they were delivering, I've seen a lot of Attic. But Tommy basically helped get me through lockdown.
It helps as well. Literally, Tommy is one of the nicest people you will ever meet, man.
He's one of those-
He looks like he's loving life all the time, mate, doesn't he?
He's very positive. His cocktails are fucking
He's
fantastic.
a genius, man.
Yeah, he does. Like, he made a vermouth out of stout, like a Guinness stout vermouth for one of his cocktails once. He just invents stuff.
Yeah.
Like, smart, clever. One of my favourite people in Birmingham. I've got a lot of time for Tommy.
So we've always wanted to do this podcast, obviously, since then. But then he kept saying, I've got something coming up, man. And he was teasing us when they're like, I've got something cool coming up.
It's good that we hadn't done it.
Yeah.
Because this is the right time.
We went into Passing Fancies and tried a good chunk of the menu.
Yeah, we got...
And off the menu, actually.
We were lucky enough to get invited to try it early on, and he's there, and he's got Matt and Eve there, and they're both... Like, it's a trio of people who are super talented.
Oh, just ridiculous.
And we tried... I don't know how many cocktails I had. Well, that's just a good sign.
It was a good night, though. We were just busy chatting to everyone.
It was good. It was one of them things, again, where we knew everyone that turned up, so it was great. And he's got... I'm not being funny. The cocktails are fantastic. He's got Stella Unfiltered on tap. And this is hardly on tap anywhere, or like on draft, I mean.
I love the vibe
It's
as
so
well.
good.
The vibe of the restaurant.
Yeah, the inside of the
Not
restaurant's
restaurant,
great.
the bar.
Yeah. But it's got food.
Feels
It's got
like a
food
restaurant,
from
but-
Q-Box.
I seen somewhere that it said like he wanted it to be like, you know how everyone has a party in the kitchen? Every party, the kitchen's the place. And he wanted that to be like the kitchen from the house party, and it felt like that because there's no like bar blocking everything off. There's like a waist level bar or even lower.
And you're all on it.
And everyone's like involved, so it's all very interactive, and it just feels like fun, doesn't it? Like,
Yeah, it's the cocktails are fantastic. The place is fantastic. The toilets are brilliant. He's got the best toilets in Birmingham. Like, you think this is a joke? I thought people were winding me up, and then I went to the toilet and I was like, you know what? He's got the fucking coolest toilets in Birmingham. It's like Night Rider toilets.
the toilets are special. I did not expect to be talking about the toilets.
No, I wasn't. Everyone kept coming back to the toilet, and we were like, have you seen the toilet? They're fucking fantastic.
The amount of people taking selfies now, all the selfies from Passing Fancies now are all in the toilet.
You're not going to see anything, just like a black and a red light.
That's
That's
that
it.
light though, yeah, that lighting's brilliant, like it's proper moody. Like.
But everything I had was fantastic. He even invented a cocktail for me on the night. Because I asked him, could he do this? And he said I could do a variant of it. And he just invented this awesome cocktail, which by all accounts is going to bang on the next menu.
Just a great place. The food's just incredible. It's from
Q-Box
Q-Box,
food.
yeah.
And that was the samples we had of that were proper
and
nice.
beignets. Oh,
Yeah.
so good.
So I want to go back there and eat.
That's
and
in the
drink.
custard factory, man. It's such a special place.
It's a great spot right next to NQ64. And
Opposite 670 grams.
Opposite 670. Yeah, so if you're going for 670 for dinner, like obviously you should be anyway because it's fucking unreal. But you got somewhere great for cocktails before and after.
I absolutely loved recording this episode. Tommy's just a joy to kind of
We've got a
spend
big
any
shout
time
out
with.
to Crazy Pedros who let us record
Yeah,
in their
good
top
shout.
bar.
man.
Really generous people. Somewhere we've talked about a lot anyway. I'm a big
Yeah.
fan of Crazy Pedros. Like, I think their pizzas are great, drinks great, good, got a good vibe, good atmosphere. Open till super late, big industry discounts. So if you work in the industry, take your payslip with you and you get massive discounts there.
Look great, and I think they've been good help to Tommy as well. It feels like they've built a little community there now between NQ and
Yeah, they're all.
what's
like,
the Chances
Yeah, you got the Chances Bar. You
Chances
got
Bar,
the bar. I can't say the name of.
Sombreresa or something like that.
Yeah, I'll let you say it. And then you've got the Stoke haircut place. It's
Yeah,
a bar at
yeah,
night
yeah.
as well. And that's all just in the like where the medicine bar was.
They've all helped each other out, I think, at some stage, and they've definitely helped Tommy. Hope you all really enjoyed this episode. I mean, we would have done this, like,
Oh, mate, no offense to anyone, it's one of my favourite episodes.
yeah.
So just doing it with one of our mates, so it's perfect.
This just felt like meeting a friend for a cup of tea or something, didn't it? Like, well, can of Carlin as it goes.
Yeah, I had a nice frozen margarita.
You had a nice
brilliant,
frozen.
yeah.
Tommy, one of the best cocktail makers ever, sitting there with a can of Carlin. It was wonderful. It definitely summed up Tommy, I think. Like,
Yeah, it does.
so talented. Awesome conversation. If you love this, help us out. Nip on to iTunes or wherever you listen to the podcast. Whatever the rating system is, just give us top marks and say something nice. I mean, we had so many people reaching out to us over the last couple of episodes, and
yeah, the Grace and Saver one got a lot of love, which was really nice. We got so many nice messages off people saying, "Oh, this episode's fantastic."
We love doing this. Like, we really, 4 years, we don't make money off it, but we do it for the love. And their messages, they give us such a little boost.
Mate, that's like payment for me.
Yeah.
Seriously, it's like I get a message saying, "I love that podcast you did." Blah blah blah. Like, that's enough. I'm really happy when I get stuff like that.
So just drop us a rating, drop us a message, anywhere like that. That's just all support for us. We love it.
Yeah. If you want to ask us something, just message us on Instagram. We'll literally answer
that
any
might be
questions
something
you
I
want to
might
know.
bring
Anything,
into,
just
you
let us
know.
know, man.
We might give some people notice before we record podcasts, and maybe you want to drop in a few questions that we'll ask the guest.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Get a bit more interactive and stuff like that.
Yeah, I like that.
Either way, I'm not rambling on anymore. Ladies and gentlemen, Tommy. Passing Fancies. Tommy, award-winning cocktail maker, covered in paint. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, man.
Is that paint for real, or you just put it on just for the photos?
Yeah, just for the photos. I gotta, I'm a big believer of faking it till you make it. So I gotta make it look like I'm doing something, right?
I bet you were doing nothing until you seen us coming around the corner of the custard factory and thought, quick, they're coming, look, busy.
I don't actually know what cutting in means. So, oh yeah, lads, I'm cutting in. Don't know what that even means.
I had no idea. I heard you say it. I was like, I don't know how long that takes. He said, give us a shout, I'm cutting in. How you keeping?
Yeah, good, man. Yeah, super excited. I mean, obviously, opening like a venue is no small feat, but yeah, we're having heaps of fun with it. Like, I think I got a good team around me. Yeah, we're doing good. We're doing really good. Just taking each day as it comes. Problem arises, we don't get too emotional and stressed about it. We just problem solve our way through it and then crack on to the next one, and then hopefully just cross 1 or 2 jobs off a day on the never-ending list of shit to do.
The growing list.
Yeah. You like move something and you're like, oh fuck, we got to do that now.
If we were speaking a week today, I'd say you might be a bit more nervous.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the list would actually probably be longer, right?
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, it's looking good. Like, compared to we seen it at the launch. Oh, Chili Fest, didn't we?
Oh yeah, I remember. Yeah, when
that
you
was
came
like
in.
a month and a half ago.
Yeah,
Or
you'd only just got in there. You're taking the shit off the windows.
Yeah. That was literally. I think that was the day after we got the keys.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's one of those where we got the keys. So my 2 business partners, Matt and Eve, we got the keys, and we sort of. I think it's the same with like ever starting your own thing. Is that for so long we were just in this empty room that we'd spent thousands and thousands of pounds on, and things just seemed to like I said, like you guys came in, there was just nothing in there. And for like 2 weeks, there was no real movement because it's just doing all the licensing and getting your builders sorted.
Yeah.
But then things have just really started to speed up. And it's actually really nice, like when friends like yourselves come through, or, hospo guys walk past and they haven't been past for a week or so, and they're like, oh, it looks really different to last week. Because we're in there every day for God knows how many hours. You don't notice the changes. So it's really nice when people say, oh, it looks different. Because
it looks massively different now. It's completely different. But it's already coming on, so. Yeah. And now you've only got a week now.
Yeah, literally. Week tomorrow, and it's friends and family. We'll all be sitting on the floor with our legs crossed singing Kumbaya and Stella.
That don't sound that bad.
It doesn't actually.
I always wondered, when you have the friends and family night, like we've obviously spoken to a lot of people who've opened restaurants and they said the same thing. Is it? I'm sure you're doing it because you're expecting not an easy ride, but like maybe a little bit of honesty. But they will be kind. But like, see if it was my family, I'd just be torn to shreds. Like, why isn't this fucking perfect?
Do you know what? Actually, like I'm from Hull, I'm from East Yorkshire, and actually none of my family are coming down. So for me, it's just a friends' night. But
is that good though? Because are they brutally honest? Up
yeah,
north?
Yeah, they are. They're savage, man. They're Northerners. My stepdad will sit there and be like, "What the bloody hell's this?" I mean, for us, it's more a case of like, just like. We get to see how the process of everything goes. Like that, like you talk about the guest experience, like from getting in the door to leaving. It's us having a bit of leeway. And like I said, one of the reasons we're doing it on a Tuesday is so that we can get a load of the hospo fam down and just have like people that know what they're on about talk about the guest experience. Like, I don't know, after we've had 24 people sit on the toilet seat, does the toilet seat go wonky? You know, do we need to buy better toilet seats? Like, is the temperature good? You know, stuff like lighting, music. Because quite frankly, if people come in and go, "I don't like that drink," I'll be like, "Tough, it's staying on the menu." Like, that's my bevs. Like, whatever. Not in an arrogant way, but you know how it is. Like, I think everyone likes to think they're a professional on these bits.
Yeah, but do you think you'll get advice? Because obviously now everyone's taking photos of everything. Is that when you're planning the lighting and the layout, and you taking into account, like, people are gonna be taking pictures of these drinks because it's so big now, like Instagram and
for sure,
for bars and stuff.
So yeah, there are certain elements. I mean, with the whole, we've worked with a guy called Matthew Lloyd, who is a wonderful Brummy lad. He used to work for Faber Design Company. He was on the design team when the Edgbaston opened years ago. He helped design that. Currently moved down to London, and I just know him through friend of a friend. And he sort of has done a design process for us, which has been really nice. Like, he's given us the mock-ups. And when we sort of said to him what we were looking for, we were taking into account this idea of taking photos of venues, but from like trying to come at it from a different element of like other venues. Like, I mean, I'm sure you've seen so many venues these days have goddamn neon signs about everything.
Oh,
which
yeah,
just
go and
drives
stand
me.
in front of and do
Oh
this
my
and do
God.
that.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, yeah, it's
Well,
just,
that's not the venue. That's just that's the fucking
exactly,
wall.
exactly. But we've actually got this like bar top made for us by a company called Fresco. They're based just out of North Handsworth, and they essentially do sort of like all the waste wood chippings from the wood industry or carpentry industry or whatever. They just set it in like a eco epoxy on some ply, and it's like this beautiful like speckled wood and like ivory cream epoxy bar top. So when people are sat at the bar and they take a photo of their drink, it's like, it's iconic that if you see a drink that's on that background, you'd kind of assume, you're like, oh, that's one of Passing Fancies drinks. And it's sort of really no one steals an idea like that, but I was really inspired to do something like that, because these two bars I adore, Present Company in Liverpool, they have this beautiful bar top with these like almost like white minstrels, just perfectly, like, it's so satisfying to look at, like just all in a row, like. And then a bar in London called Coupette, and their bar top is just the old school French Franks, just like lacquered into the bar because it's a French style venue. So that anytime I see the Present Company bar top or the Coupette bar top, I'm like, I instantly know where they are. So I was like, when people are in the venue and they take a photo of the drink, then yeah, it's more about, it will look sexy, of course it will, and then I also want people to be like, oh shit, that's Passing Fancies, yeah. So for sure, you have to kind of take that into consideration these days. It's a digital world we live in, right?
Then I've
seen some kind of stat that it's a while since I've read now. It's probably a little bit out of date, but it was something like 80% of people between 18 and 25 choose where they're going out that night based on Instagram or something like that.
Yeah, that's mad. Yeah,
that's mad, that is.
We had this big chat about like how much we actually invest into our website, right? Like, who's going to actually, like, obviously you Googled somewhere to find out where it is or whatever. But I think the younger generation coming through, like, I'm 31, so I mean, computers are they're my generation. I honestly, ask anyone, I am so bad with technology. I can't, like, this idea of attaching a printer to my laptop, I've no fucking clue, mate. Like, and I turn it on and off about a dozen times. But yeah, we were like, do we invest in a website? Are people going to Google Passing Fancies on the website, or are they just going to Google it to find out where it is, and then just go on Instagram to see the content, right? So instead of investing in a website, we'll invest in content creation and, PR agencies and proper social media management. Because yeah, like, I think there is that idea of like Instagram is such it's at the forefront of why people pick where they go, right?
So you're not going to have a website now?
Oh, we have a website, because there is that fine line, right? Like, I wouldn't trust somewhere that doesn't have a website. I was
just about to say, a website's main purpose now is
booking, basically.
Yeah,
booking, but it's trust as well.
Yeah, it's like an authenticity thing, right? Yeah, for sure. So we will, but it will essentially be, a homepage, bit of what we do, it'll link to our booking system, and then we'll have, maybe, some people, we've already had so many people saying, oh, we've got sample menus, so we'll have a sample menu on there, and because the offering's going to change so often, it's tough to be able to say, we can't update it every day, but we'll have sample stuff on there.
But yeah, I think it all depends on what age group you're going for.
Yeah.
If you were like, I don't want to mention anyone in particular around Digbeth. But there's some bars that are just aiming for, like, if you were 25 in some of these bars around here, you'd be pretty old.
Yeah, oh yeah, hard out, 100%.
And if I owned one of them, there's no way I'd pay for a website. There's no point. I'd be investing in TikTok or something. I wouldn't be investing in a website. You got to go wherever your customers are.
Oh, 100%. It's mad, like, to think around here, we're actually the only, other than, I guess, Cray, which is, you know, fine dining at 670, we're the only table service venue in the area.
Yeah, then it's
so it's like, it's really not that type of place.
You just kind of touched on it a little bit, but where you are is perfect because you got Roberto's as well across the road. So it's kind of linked. I feel like the same person who goes to you might come to you for a cocktail first, maybe nip for a beer, then go to Cray for dinner, and then maybe come back to you for a cocktail. You know what I mean?
That's the idea, and that's something we actually really saw that worked when we opened Couch back in 2019. Something we really saw develop was this idea of people coming to us for a drink, and then as more opened up around there, they'd be going to Eat Vietnam for dinner, Can Eat for dinner, they'd be going to Yakuchi for dinner, next door to Verbena, and then they'd just come back to us for a drink afterwards. And it was this, like, it's definitely something we want to link into around here, is that, like, you know, we're here for, don't get me wrong, we're going to have a bigger option, but yeah, we're here for some pre-drinks and some post-drinks, and we want to link up with people of quality like 670. But, you know, in saying that as well, like, I don't know, hearing myself say that, like, we also want the people that will go to Pedro's. I have absolutely no, like, condescension to what type of drink you want, right? We literally have Stella on draft. Like, when I tell people that we have Stella on draft, and then we'll have, like, hopefully a phenomenally delicious like cocktail beverage program. The two can go side by side. Okay, it'll be Stella Unfiltered and Guinness, but
Stella Unfiltered's fantastic.
It's
as
delicious.
well. I only tried it for the first time the other day, and it was like, man, this is good. I already knew you had it on tap. I was like, that's going to be awesome.
I work on this idea of a table of four, right? So, like, if you get 4 people coming to your venue, like, say two of them want cocktails, one of them wants a wine, and one of them wants a beer. Like, how do you hit them with the best quality of everything that you can source and then give them? It's not this idea of, like, we're so invested in cocktails that we have a terrible wine, or an average wine list and an average beer selection. Like, we'll have a rotating, you know, can and bottled selection. So we buy 1 crate from Daya, we buy 1 crate from wherever. That's in the fridge, and the backup one's ready to go in to replace it when it empties. And with our wine list, you know, we're rotating wines every month. It's not like we're just going to sit there and be like, this is our wine list for 6 months. But yeah, I think we want to, being in Digbeth, like, as you touched on, we have such a young audience around here, but we also do have people that go to Cray. So we want to really be that middle ground for sure.
I think that's what the beauty of Digbeth is. There's so many different nights out. When we were growing up, there was just one night out here.
Yeah.
And that was it. Like, old school pubs, basically.
Yeah.
Or a rave venue. That was it.
Yeah,
2 options. Now you've got so many different places and so many different nights out, and you can mix and match all these things. You could come out here every weekend for a year and not do the same night out. 100%.
And I think, like, you know, we got asked this a lot when we were doing the business plan, like, who's your target audience? And I'm like to a certain respect, that's kind of irrelevant these days, and especially around here. Like, if you want to come to us for some drinks before you go to a rave and stay there until 6 a.m., I don't give a shit. Like, as long as you're not an asshole, and as long as you're respectful of the venue and you pay your bill, I don't give a shit. Like, I'm respectful to others, right? Like, I'm not going to say that I don't want your money because you're not my certain clientele, right? And surely, if we're in a younger area of Birmingham, like, if we have 10,000 people that are our captive audience for the weekend, if only 1% of them think, oh, do you know what? I've heard they do really good drinks, and they funnel into our venue for 1 drink, and they're like, oh, okay, I've had a delicious cocktail. This is what a delicious cocktail should taste like. And then they go to Pedro's for margaritas. I don't mind. Like, that's literally what Discovery
that's what
is.
I'm drinking right now. Frozen margarita at Pedro's.
Yeah, I've been living. That's pretty much my blood at the moment is margaritas. Like, John has been looking after us like nothing else.
So we will come back to Passing Fancies, obviously. But we normally start at the beginning. But no, don't apologise.
There's no organ. It just goes whatever way we like.
Don't even dream that this is some kind of professional organised outfit.
Yeah, there's no plan.
I mean, I'm sat here drinking a Carling, boys.
We don't plan this. How'd you get into hospitality, Tommy?
Real interesting, actually. So my first job, other than my paper rounds, I was a pot wash at Pizza Express in the northeast of England, in a town called Beverley.
That's so funny. With the amount of times we've asked that very question, and nobody's turned around and said, well, when I was 14, I was a paper boy.
Yeah, well, innit? I think...
You've gone too far back now.
Yeah. But no, so basically, I worked hospital when I was younger, and I I loved the community of it. Like I loved that it was just people. But obviously I was a pot wash, so it was only really staff. But I ended up actually training to be an accountant. I did my AAT, so my Association of Accounting Technicians, and then jumped onto my CIMA when I was like 21. And honestly, if I was an accountant now, I think I'd be the angriest person in the world. It was such a boring, no offense to accountants out there, but it just wasn't for me. So I went traveling.
You could sleep on a pillow of cash though.
Well, I'd be a richer man if I was an accountant. But yeah, it's I just really didn't enjoy it. And I was at a time in life where I thought, you know what, I'll do a bit of traveling. So when I was like just turned 21, me and two of my best mates went to Australia. That classic, we're going to go find ourselves, right? We're going to go travel around Australia.
Did you have dreadlocks or braids?
I didn't have dreadlocks. I lost my hair at a very young age, so I think it was the accounting. Like I ended up staying in Australia for a bit longer than my two mates that I was with, and I didn't want to just like have like sort of like European mates in hostels. So I was like, I'm gonna go find a job in a bar and like try and make some friends through that. So yeah, started working in a really shit pub in Perth in Western Australia, and met two really cool chefs who I'm still friends with today. And they ended up moving to this sick little cocktail bar, and I moved with them, but I had no real cocktail experience. So I was just on the floor delivering drinks, and I just loved it, and it just evolved from there. And I came home and was like, right, I want to make a career out of this. I just loved that. It sounds so cheesy, but meeting someone new every day, and like it doesn't. When you really enjoy what you do, it's like, yeah, like I said, cliche. When you really enjoy what you do, is it really work? Like I go to work, I get behind the bar, and ask anyone I've ever worked with. They just tell shit jokes and do no work, and then make one nice cocktail, and then
yeah, I've witnessed this a few times.
Yeah, and it so. It's been history ever since. I think because I only started really when I was 25 and I'm 31. No, 24. So I've not had a long career in it, but yeah, so a lot later than people, I guess. But yeah.
You came back to Hull.
Yeah. So I got home and I was home about a week, and I was like, oh fuck this noise. This place is. I mean, it's great. Don't get me wrong, but I was like, I felt like I'd just taken a step back in it. Like I was going out and I was seeing like people that I'd gone to school with and stuff, and I was like, oh fuck this, I'm out of here. Hit the eject button. And I actually had two mates that were working down here at JLR, so I hit one of them up and was like, can I come stay on your sofa? So I came down and just never left. Well, I mean, I've got a house, I'm not on a sofa, but
yeah, still never left the house.
Yeah 6-7 years later or whatever.
What did you do? Just work in a bar straight away? Or?
Yeah, so I came down for a week just to hang about with them, just to get my head a bit right, because I really loved living in Australia. And you ask anyone I ever worked with, people are always like, oh my god, Tommy, you go to Australia? It was really hard for me coming home, because I never thought I'd come home, but it was visa issues and stuff. And I got home and I was a bit down and out, so I came down and stayed with the boys. And I was like, you know what, I'll just hand some CVs about, and I mean, this is how long ago it was. I handed a CV into the Bureau of all places. Wow. I handed a CV into the Botanist. I actually remember walking into the Botanist when I handed my CV in and was like, do you have any jobs? And I sat at the bar, and my bar blade fell out my pocket. You know, they're like things that you used to open bottles and that. And I just saw Jacob Clark, who owns Couch, and Raj, one of our good friends that used to work there. They perked up like meerkats, and they just saw me sat at the bar, and they were like, bartender. And they were so in need of staff. And it was like November at this point, so they were just about to get the Christmas fisting. So literally that day, sat down with Jules, who was at old GM, now runs the Anchor, now owns the Anchor. And and they sent me to Leeds, did all my training. I mean, if you know me, I fucking hate Leeds, but it was nice to be there for 2 weeks. Come home, I'll come back to Birmingham, got a spot to live. And at that point, my now wife came home she got her visa sorted. She's a Kiwi, so came over. And then, the rest is history, from the Botanist to the Edgbaston, from the Edgbaston to Couch, and then now the new spot.
It went fairly well at Couch, didn't it?
Yeah.
What a venue.
Yeah, well, it is. It's honestly, hats off to Katie and Jacob. We created something really special down there. I really think I got so much time for both of them. I think they're wonderful humans. Danny, who works there as well, and Asher, they're both lovely people. I remember the early days of Couch. We were sort of saying, like, again, what's the concept? What's the overarching idea? And Jacob was just constantly like, oh, it's cheers with cocktails, isn't it? And I'm like, if you were to like one sentence to sum that place up, it's pretty bang on.
If that was what you were aiming for, you definitely achieved it.
Good bevs, good people, good music. Like, it's literally like the basics of Hospo done really, really, really fucking well. And they nailed it, and they did. And they're I wish them all the best. I really do. Bartending's
often frowned upon. I think we mention it quite every time we've got someone front of house on. We talk about it, and it's always like, oh, what you're studying, what you're going to do next, you know.
Yeah,
it's always like
a intermediary career.
Yeah. At what point did you think, oh shit, this is me now? I'm set. This is my career.
Honestly, early on.
You must have been getting pressure. I mean, I don't know what your folks are like, but I'm pretty sure if I trained as an accountant, my dad would be like, what the fuck are you working at?
Yeah, 100%. yeah, 100%. Like, I mean, yeah, I still remember the phone call when I rang my mom, and when I came home, she was obviously like, you know, she's excited to do refresher courses for all the new tax law and all that shit. And she was like lining me up for all that because she knew I'd taken it pretty hard coming home. And I remember ringing her from Birmingham, and I was like, oh, I'm staying down here. I've got a job in a bar. And she was like, what?
She most upset about the fact you work in a bar or the fact it was Birmingham?
One of the things she always says to me is that she actually used to talk to me more when I was in Australia through Skype than now I'm in Birmingham.
Yeah.
Like all the way across the world, we made an effort, and now I'm like 2.5 hours down the road. I never fucking speak to her.
No, we've got a friend in Australia, and I swear I speak to him more now that he's in Australia than I did when he was here.
Yeah, it's always the way. But I've always been into like community, right? Like I grew up skateboarding. It was my life. Like my dream was to be a pro skater or whatever. And skateboarding is about like, yes, it's a sport or whatever, but it's about community, right? Like we used to go down to the skate shop in Hull, 4 down. This was before phones. Like I wasn't allowed a phone at this point. I eventually got my sister's 3210 or whatever, hand me down. But you'd get to the shop, and then you just wait for people to turn up. You put some skate videos on. You'd maybe, I don't know, buy some new wheels, buy a new deck, whatever you needed, new t-shirt for the day with your paper round money or your Pizza Express money. And then you'd head out as a crew, and then you'd go skate all day, and you'd just sing, you know, the old kids would bring some beers or whatever. And I think I just replaced my sort of love of community and that sort of element to like the bar side of things, because like the bar scene, like it's a community as well, whether it's a community of professionals, but then also a community of people in the bar. One of my big things with the new spot is that like if we're going into the big R word, recession, people are still going to go out eating and drinking, I hope, but people are going to be more picky about where they go, right? So you have to never ever forget like the base reason that people go out to drink is to socialize. I mean, okay, there might be other reasons in there that are a bit more, you know, deeper than that, but you know, people, if I'm going to go out for a drink with a mate, I'm going to go out to see my mate, and then the question would be, where should we go? Yeah. Like I'm still going out with them, but where should we go? You have to like, for me, we have to like pander to that in this idea that we're a wonderful, like Couch does, we're a wonderful bar, great service, great drinks, constantly changing, offering, you know, it's a nice community place to sit and have a good time. And yeah, that's just what, yeah, I was hooked from bartending from a very, it didn't help the two guys I was just saying, the chefs, they were like killer, they used to skate as well, and they were, now looking back at it, they were 30, 31, and this was when I was 24, 25, so I used to go skate with them as well, and that's like, I got hooked from since then.
You're on
How
it.
did the Edgbaston come out? Because Edgbaston just closed this year.
Yeah,
like,
sad news, yeah.
When was it like, when did it open, do you know? Or?
2014, end of 2014, start of 2015, I believe.
And it was like everyone was talking about the Edgbaston.
Yeah, it was killer.
It was
killer.
killer.
How did that come about?
So that was just like, so obviously the Botanist is a chain, right? And it was great working there. And like I said, the community of the Botanist was phenomenal. You know, Jules was a GM who now owns the Anchor. Katie Rouse was the AGM who's now obviously with has Couch, and Jacob was our IST, and you know, we had a wonderful community, but I didn't really enjoy the product, and I genuinely have to enjoy something that I'm doing to be able to do it every day. Like that's why I became a bartender, right? That's why I gave up a career in accounting, because I didn't want to do that every day. I wanted to do something I wanted to do, and I just wasn't enjoying the drinks and all that stuff. So a guy from the Botanist, Dave Fry, had actually just moved over to the Edgbaston, and he said, "Oh, there's a job coming up. Do you want to go for it?" And like, I mean, like I said, I'm sat here drinking a Carling. I don't consider myself a hotel bartender, but I checked them out. I saw the drinks program. I did a bit of reading or a bit of research about the crew that was already there, and I applied, and yeah, ended up getting the job. And you know, I had to wear a waistcoat and a tie for nearly 4 years, but it was one of the best moves I ever made. I think it really defined like me as a bartender and my style of that, like, you know, no matter who you are, no matter where you come from, good drinks are good drinks, and they're for everybody. You know, the Edgbaston was black and gold and luxurious, but by no means did I ever want it to be pretentious or condescending. It was like, if you want to come and enjoy a good drink, come and enjoy a good drink. But yeah, I got a lot of love for the Edgbaston.
Who created the menu? Because where else in Birmingham was doing cocktails like that at the time? There wasn't many.
Yeah, no one. So the opening team was Rob Wood, Luke Pearson, James Bowker, Steph. There was some wicked people on the opening because I was there after about a year after it opened. I believe the first menu was. I'd like to think it was a collaboration, but I think the majority of it was spearheaded by Rob, and I think that was really Rob putting his foot on the map of the Birmingham bar scene as well. Yeah, I came on in 2016. Rob had gone at this point, and Luke Pearson, who's a good friend, Wonder Chocolate, Luke Pearson, check out a good chocolate brand, amazing. And Mr. Bowker, James Bowker, it was their menu at that point. But yeah, literally no one was doing that level of drinks. It was, we talk about London as a benchmark, but it was London Bevs in Birmingham, and it was just bonkers, man. Like, maybe Born & Co. at a certain point, but I know that had a lot of drama surrounding it. And then 40s popped up eventually, which Rob went to. But yeah, we really were just the one thing at that level of quality for a while, for a good couple of years. And it was because we all cared. It was because we were all from different walks of life, but all we wanted to do was make good bevs. And, you know, I fucking hate the term wanky bartender. Like, I fucking hate it, dude. Like, it's like, it's like another bartender saying it's wanky bartending is like OPM calling Carter's wanky food. It makes no sense. Just because you make daiquiris and margaritas in your bar and we strive to do something different in our bar doesn't make me wanky. I want to do my drinks a different way to you. And it's almost like not a defense mechanism, but I just don't get it sometimes. It's like, it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
I think it makes them feel better. They're like, oh, we could do that wanky stuff. We just don't want to be that wanky.
Yeah, I know. The way I've always said it to anyone that's ever worked with me is like, there is never anything wrong with doing your job to the best of your ability, whether that's serving someone, whether that's making a good drink, I don't know, whether that's polishing a goddamn glass. Like, just, if you care about it, you'll do it well. But yeah, I don't even know where we were going with that one.
No, somewhere.
I think maybe getting outside influences as well from other countries as well helps. Like America always had a great scene.
Yeah, for sure.
And obviously London, maybe they come back up this way and bring it with them.
It
goes back to the whole, you know, if it is a part-time career, if it is a stepping stone while you're studying, you maybe don't care as much. You know, but you need someone who's going to really invest and say, well, I'm fully invested to this now and I'm going to push things forward. I want to create something.
For sure. But I also think a lot of onerous of that actually falls onto bar managers, because there's a lot of people that I call them tasters that dip their toe into our industry and then decide, like you say, they're at uni or college and they decide they don't like it. Okay, why don't you like it? Okay, the big one is always it's unsociable hours, right? That's a big learning curve. I mean, for me, I'm happy with it because it just means I never have to set a fucking alarm, right? So I get from work, I fall asleep. I literally never have to wake up for an alarm. It's like the best thing ever. Other than unsociable hours, it's like, okay, well, it's long shifts. I don't get food. I have to deal with asshole customers. I don't like my team. My head bartender's absolutely off his nut on coke. Do you know what I mean? There's a plethora of reasons to why someone that could potentially actually really like our industry doesn't like it. And I think a lot of that falls onto venue management, general managers, bar managers. It's like, if you have people that are investing in the wellness of their staff, like, you know, not, okay, we might have to do a double every now and then. I don't mind, it is what it is. But if I have to do one double every now and then, because I know the rest of the time I'm looked after, of course I'll do a long day to cover someone, whatever. But I think trying to get new people in, and then them not just going, oh yeah, I'm only doing it while I'm at uni, and giving them that passion, that's the hardest part. But I do think a lot of that falls onto the way things are run, and it is changing at the moment, it really is, because there's literally no other way we're going to get people in the industry. We have to literally get people in on a part-time basis, or while they're studying, and then they have to literally catch the bug or think they really enjoy it, because there's no other way they're going to get in the industry. There's no college for this. There's no food school equivalent to bartending. There's no, you know what I mean? Like, we're seen as servants at the end of the day, so it's a tough one. But yeah,
you're right there. I never even thought about that, but I used to work in a real shit chain bar in Solihull. It was terrible, wasn't it? It was like, it was a dark.
There's lots of nodding going on.
But order a single, get a treble. It's perfect.
But I absolutely I would have run through walls for my gaffer at that pub. He's still even now he's a really good friend of mine. He still runs a pub around Birmingham, and he kind of, nearly the whole team was like that. We all kind of worked way harder than we probably should have. Yeah, because the company was shit. and didn't really look after us at all. But
Yeah.
the managers did. The two managers,
Yeah, for
they
sure.
really looked after us.
Yeah, yeah.
Funny you said that. I forgot all about that.
Yeah, I think it is. It's like it's very rare for someone to wake up one day and go, do you know what, I'm going to be a career bartender. Like career bartender is like two words that seldom fucking go together, right? So it is about nurturing. It's about, there are lots of benefits to our industry if you work with brands, if you know, there are lots of like doors that could open from being a bartender.
Listen to our podcast with Sona. Honest to God.
Yeah, I actually haven't heard that one.
He's been like over the desert in a helicopter. He's
Oh,
like,
yeah,
no, he's
sponsored
had
by
some
Crew.
experiences,
Yeah,
man.
I mean, I've been taken to the Genkas Mountains in North New York. I've been to
There you
Kentucky. I've traveled the world, man, like for
Yeah.
free. I spent literally a week in Toronto with a whiskey brand before, 2 weeks before we got locked down. That was amazing. Like the way I look at it is I've got sofas to sleep on all over the world. Like it's
And
a
you
wonderful,
could work anywhere in the world.
Yeah, hard
Like,
out,
you could jump
100%.
behind any bar. And just say,
Yeah. It's just liquid in a glass, you know.
Yeah.
Okay, there might be different ways to measure,
Yeah.
but it's once you figure out that.
But it's not
an
even
hour-
a liquid though, because
Yeah.
I wonder like how many customers come in for because every pub in Birmingham sells Carlin, so why choose the Windsor or the Choc?
Yeah.
It's probably because you get on with the bar staff, or you know,
Yeah.
or you like the other people that are in that pub, so you end up chatting to them.
Well, I know my mum and dad are from a very different generation, right? And they don't get my career at all, and it's fine. But they're of the type where they go, oh, we go to this place in Hull because there's a really nice waiter and he always looks after us. Do you know what I mean? And they're like nearly 70 now, so like it is a way of like it's a way that some people pick their venue. You know, like you talk about the real young end using social media, and then the old end do it based on like, you know, previous encounters with staff. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just a big advocate of looking after your staff, and yeah, we're lucky. We won Imbibes Bar Team of the Year, we've won Bar Manager of the Year, and we've got awards coming out our fucking ears. But like, I think the thing that makes me proud is that like it's not. I've never won an award that this is the best cocktail in the world, because realistically, it's a fucking cocktail. I'd rather be working with happy people, creating a good community, because I think that's just a better sort of light leading forward than, you know, this one great drink this one time. It's like, yeah, we're known for producing good bartenders, we're known for producing good working environments. Like, people should, you know, gravitate towards that. And we're lucky, like, you know, with the new bar, we've got some great bartenders working with us. We're a big advocate. This is how I'm trying to get people into the industry. So we completely employed based on no experience. Like, my whole ethos is that, like, I can teach you how to make a good drink, but I can't teach you not to be an asshole. Like, there is a very fine line of like how people conduct themselves when they're serving other people. It's like, you know, you have to be able to empathize. You have to be able to be a bit selfless. Like, you know, I'm not making it sound like fucking Mother Teresa here, but like, you know, there has to be a want to make someone have a good time, you know, like not roll your eyes when a new customer walks in when you're really busy, you know, it's just dumb. People will remember a great experience and an average drink than a great drink and a shit experience, you know.
Yeah,
like, it's happened to me over and over again.
So how was the recruitment? Because everyone's talking about recruitment in hospitality, everywhere, but especially in hospitality.
It was actually really good. We got some really strong and healthy CVs through. Yeah, it was a delight. I mean, I was recruiting at the Edge Bassin for the last 2 years as when I was bar manager. It was always an open conversation at Couch, and I was genuinely worried. I really was. So what we did was like I said at the start, we just problem solved our way through it. We're like, all right, how are we gonna look attractive for people to want to work with us? Like, how would we have wanted to be employed when we were 20, 21, 23, 24? Like, it's not this, oh yeah, £9.50 an hour and an extra 50p more when you earn your, you know, your beer badge or whatever. And, you know, you're working 6-day weeks. It was this idea of, okay, let's create a rota structure that's in fitting with the business plan, because we've all got to make money and whatever. But let's look at 4-day working weeks. Let's look at mental health and financial support, because I know like a lot of people in our industry struggle with mental health. A lot of people in our industry struggle with financial problems, because it's not the best paying industry in the world. Let's look at giving people food every time they get to work. You know, let's just look at like everything that we fucking hated when we were on the come up. How do we get past that? And then hopefully, when shit does hit the fan, because it will do, it's inevitable. We're a service industry. Like, there's always going to be things that go wrong. And we say to one of our staff, oh, you know, I'm really sorry. this person's out of action for the rest of the week. Do you mind picking up one shift for a 5th day? Obviously paid overtime. Like, we'll never make you come into work because everyone's salaried as well, right?
Yeah.
So that was the one thing I always hated, was the 0-hour contracts, and oh shit, my hours are getting cut. Or there's a new bar manager in. He doesn't like me as much as the old bar manager, so I'm not getting as many hours. It's like, fuck you, dude. Like, so everyone's on a flat salary.
It's the way they used it as a threat against you.
Yeah,
though. When
like
somebody doesn't want their hours
talk
next
about
week.
like
You're
bloody industry gaslighting. It's fucking minging, dude. Like,
thank you so much for my 90 hours. Thank you.
Imagine like just all of that compiling on you. There's no wonder people have substance and alcohol issues in our industry, right? It's fucking bonkers. So yeah, and we put an advert. We didn't just type it all out and then just put it on whatever. We got it all put into our own branding, all that stuff. We linked like a press release with it that was like, this is what we're trying to create, and we sent it out, and we got metric fuck tons of CVs come through from people that had never worked in the hospitality industry to like industry professionals from other cities around the UK, like that would want to move here to work with us. The other thing was, and this isn't us, fucking saying we're amazing, but it was nice to see the reception from the industry as well. People saying this is how a job advert should be posted. This is how a bar should be looking after people, and it can be done. You just have to have a better look at financials. You can do 4-day working weeks. You can do salary. Like you just have to be real with the numbers. And I think that's what's really helped me with my accounting background, right? Is that I do have a good understanding of the flow of money through a business. It's not just like using a fucking
I was going to say
calculator.
that must come in handy.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, for sure. As much as I hate to admit it, I actually don't do any of the finances. I take the more creative lead. Matt is the finance boy.
Oh man, if I was there, I'd be like, you're back up. I know you're doing the finances. Come on.
Yeah, no, he actually is. I kind of look over at him sometimes, and he's like sorting out brand contracts and putting stuff onto the like a back of house finance system. And I'm like, yeah, fuck that noise. But yeah, recruiting's gone really well. And we got some good stuff. Actually, what day is it today? They're all on site as of a week today. So fully, giving everyone the proper training. I think giving people the support of where they want to go in their career as well. I think there's always been this thing in hospitality where when you leave somewhere, people like your boss is mad at you for leaving them.
Bad?
Yeah.
Fuck him, he's bad. I was like, well, I'm not bad. He's like, because you left us. I was like, I gave him a notice.
And that, yeah, exactly. And that again, we're talking about gaslighting or fucking Stockholm syndrome, whatever you want. Like all that shit is like so toxic, right? So we're like, I had this thing, especially with the Edgbaston. Like, if you give me a solid year, like that's great. And after 2 years, if you've not moved on, like, how can I help you get to the next step where you want to go? Yeah. I know everything is temporary, right? Staff should be temporary because, I mean, it's great if you get a staff member work for you for 8 years, but like, and okay, if they're, they just absolutely love you and they bleed you, but like, what is it that you're looking for next? Like, Andre, who used to work at the Edgbaston, he moved down to London he's now managing Coupette, which is one of the best bars in the world. I adore it. It's a great bar. And Andre's a great bartender. Leo, who used to work with me, he moved on after, I think about 2.5 years he's now assistant bar manager at Termini. Now they're rebranding and doing all their bits. Like, I don't know. I think everyone should be temporary, and it's like, work with us. We'll teach you what we can teach you. We'll show you how to get where you want to go to, and then kind of like see you later. Get a new fresh person in, and it just gets more people in the industry, right?
Is this how you started at Couch? Because I didn't want to say like, oh, why did it finish? Okay, just in case. but I know you're still friends with the guys.
Yeah. Nah, fuck those guys.
Did you sit down and have a conversation like this and said like, listen, my philosophy about working is it should be temporary? And I
mean, Couch was actually, I vividly remember the day that I thought, it's a project I want to be involved in. We were sat in the jewelry quarter. It was really hot, and I was on a rooftop at one of my friend's flats. And the Edgbaston was kind of as far as I could have taken it. And you have to live by your own philosophies, right? And I'd been there coming up to 4 years, and I was like, what's my next step, right? Where am I going with my career? I'm lucky I've got such a supportive wife. And Katie and Jacob were there, and we had like all this Domino's pizza. I was steaming on red wine, right? I think it was a combination of the sun and the red wine, whatever. They were asking me if I had any recommendations for a bartender for them opening Couch, and they were explaining their concept to me. And sort of, like I said, I worked with both of them at the Botanist years and years ago, like 2015 when I first got home. And I was suggesting people, and then went home steaming, and I was lying there in bed the next day, and I was like, I know I want like my own place at some point. Like I want to do my own big project, and I kind of just I checked with the wife because it was like a drop in money. Of course, it is like hotel management. The hotel game is very different to the bar game, right? And I had a chat to the wife, and then I text Kate and Jacob and was like, "Yo, why don't I come on board?" Like, and the whole idea was that I'll come on and I'll help with the drinks program, because Kate and Jacob hadn't worked really behind a bar for a while because they were doing Christian Cubed. I mean, they're both phenomenally talented bartenders. They really, really are. But it was just, I guess, getting me on board with someone a bit fresher. Like, you know, we can hit the ground running, we can learn some new techniques, like finger on the pulse. I like to have my finger on the pulse with industry shit, trends and techniques and stuff. I was just sort of like, well, you know, can there be a bit of transparency with the whole setup process and all that stuff? So I actually came on a month before Couch opened. I vividly remember my first day. I'd gone down to Couch in Sturchley, and I was stood out the back on this gravel bit where it was just now the garden at Couch, a lovely little spot. It was not lovely, let me tell you. And I was building this shed, and I am not, ask anyone, I am not a handyman, right? I am so bad when it comes to building shit. And this thing said like, I think it said like 4 hours building time. It took me fucking 2 days. But anyway, I was stood there building this shed in the piss poor rain in this minging garden in Sturchley. And I was like, what the fuck have I done? And Jacob just kept popping his head out and being like, you all right, Tommy? And I was like, yeah, dude. Yeah, I like the whole thing was that I just had a bit of transparency. Kate and Jacob were wonderful at, you know, teaching me stuff. Like, you know, how stuff costs. Like, the one thing I noticed was how furiously annoying contractors are. Poor Jacob, being the project manager he was losing his mind with like our Tyler and stuff, you know. Like, it was like, looking back on it, it was funny, but like at the time, like obviously you're always stressed to the nines, right?
Yeah,
like,
of course.
So yeah, just came on board at Couch, and obviously we had a great opening. It was received really, really well, and then COVID hit, so it was just a bit like, oh shit, here we go.
I don't know, it was the worst time in ever, really,
I think we got 5 months into trade. We didn't even get 6 months. Yeah, it was really tough, but you know, they were great through it. We did some cool projects. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. COVID, isn't it?
That's it. Well, I actually seen more of you through COVID than I seen
pretty
much
I was
anyone
every
else.
Sunday.
Every Sunday dropping cocktails off.
Yeah,
Which was nice. That was like a little lifeline I look forward to.
Yeah,
so you don't get to see anyone.
Yeah. You know, it was nice just standing outside yours and just chatting shit for half an hour.
Trying to stop the dog from running outside.
Phone. Yeah. Looking at my phone and I'm like, oh man, I'm so late to my next delivery. And I'm like, fuck it, it's Sunday, who cares?
Yeah. That's mad. So there was 3 of you at Couch, pretty much, for the setup.
Yeah.
Is it just a coincidence that there's 3 of you for this?
Yeah, it is a coincidence. Yeah. I mean, I've known Matt for a very, very long time. And I've known Eve for a long time as well. But I'm a big advocate as well as like, we're stronger in numbers, right? Like, it's a literal fact. And when it comes to like opening your own bar, like I saw how well Kate and Jacob did just bouncing off each other, and I was sat there and I was like, I could do this on my own. Like, I can get the funding, I've got the creative mindset, like I could do it on my own, but I think I'd have a bloody breakdown in 6 months, or the wife would up and go because I'd be too stressful to live with.
It's hard, man.
Yeah,
imagine being just on your own. At least just having someone to pick you up just
a
little bit on your bad day.
And then there's this idea of like, you get into your head, you're like, well, if I do it on my own, everything I make's mine, right? And it's like, that's such a dumb mindset. Like, so I remember sitting down with Matt, and we'd always wanted to do something together. Like, we'd always spoke about it. We have very, very similar like ethoses on drinks and yeah, everything. And Eve's like operational knowledge of how things work, and she's I mean, they're both just amazing. They really are. And it just came to the point where I was like, let's do something now. Like, why are we waiting? Like, they were at a point where they were, you know, gonna they had the time to do something. So I was like, well, we've always talked about it. Let's just pull the trigger on it and do it.
Were they quite keen?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'd actually been offered this site where Passing Fancies is. I was talking to Joe, who's the head of estates for the custard factory, and I actually came across my emails early January, and I was sort of sitting on it for about 4 to 6 weeks, like thinking about it, and like, do I want to be in Digbeth? Do I want to be in the custard factory? And by this point, I'd already lost like 3 venues in the jewelry quarter, and this one was literally been handed to me on a silver platter. And I'm like, do you know what? It makes business sense for everything that I want to do and my ethos. And I remember showing Matt it, and Matt was like, of course we're doing it. Like, why was there ever any question? Like, Matt and Eve came down and we were like, let's just fucking go. Like, why, like, I think I originally thought it'd be some, not pokey, but some little place somewhere, whatever. But it's literally the flagship venue in the Drew Court, in Digbeth, right? It's like 3 big glass windows. You have to walk past it no matter which way you're going through, if you're going anywhere else. We're like front and center. And then, we showed Matt it and Eve it, and they were both like, yeah, let's do it. Like, no question of that. And we just sat down and we just worked from there. We went name, concept, everything. We just bashed it all out. And do you know what? Like, I think that's the good thing about working with friends is that, you know, there's a lot of times in hospitality where you maybe feel like you have to hold your tongue at certain things that certain people do, but when you're truly working with friends, there's none of that. Like, you can be as open as you want, and they do say, you know, never work with friends, no, never go into business with your friends or whatever. But I'm not a believer of that. Like, I'm a massive believer in transparency, and like, you know, you can say constructive things, not like an asshole. Like, we're all grown-ups here. Yeah, we saw it, and yeah.
All together.
From there. It came together from there.
So what sort of more their backgrounds?
So Matt's bartended since he was 18 years old. He's obsessed with bartending. I don't think I've ever met anyone that loves it as much as I do, and yeah, he does. And Eve again, she's worked in hospitality for, I mean, she's a little bit older than Matt, but for equal amount of time. She was in hotel bartending. She did a brief stint at Grain and Glass because she's obsessed with whiskey. I remember like one of the first nights she ever came around to the house. This is years ago. Me, Erica, Matt. Erica's my wife. We're all sat there, and you know, you can play like I said, I'm not a technological dude. You know, you can play fucking YouTube on smart TVs. Like that, I didn't realize that was a thing. Yeah. So like, got on YouTube. And we just banged on, because we're all 3 of us are obsessed with hip hop, and we just banged on some Action Bronson, and then we just absolutely destroyed my whiskey collection at home.
Oh, nice.
It was so good.
Oh, I wish I love whiskey as well.
I don't know. I just think it takes a very similar mind. Like, we have very specific roles in the bar, but we all have very similar end goals. And you know, working, like, going back to the original question, like working with people, or like taking that decision not to do it on my own, or like to link up with them, is because we have other projects in mind as well, man. I don't think the be all and end all is having your one bar and that being it. Like, there are creative projects we want to do on the side. There are other venues we want. There are other projects we want to run. And if you have a more solid management or director team, you have the flexibility to do that. And then on the flip side, if one of you is having a really shit day or week, you can lean on the other business partners, you know? Like, it's just smart. It's common sense. I never get these lone rangers, because then they just get this nihilistic point of view where they're like, well, I'm always working. I haven't paid myself in 5 years. Oh, shut up, mate.
That's it. 3
Usually
is
it's their own fault as well sometimes.
Well, yeah.
They like that mindset, and they just get into it.
That's, I mean, I've spoke a bit about mindset. I have absolutely zero time for negative people. I just cannot stand them. People that moan just annoy the hell out of me. I can't do it. Like, I find it boring, man. Like, I'd rather you, like, I've been talking to people at a bar, and I don't know, they've been super passionate about, I don't know, let's say light fittings. There's, you know, nice light fittings around here, and they've been super passionate about light fittings, and I'm like, oh yeah, tell me more about your light fittings, because like that, like, if someone's passionate about it, your passion sells passion, right? And I just got no time for people that just sit there and moan about stuff. Like, especially if you consider yourself an industry leader and you own your own venue or whatever, and all you're doing is moaning about it. It's like, okay, dude, calm down.
So down on the cocktail list, how do you come up with? I've always wondered this. How do you come up with a cocktail list? Because obviously you could come up with 6 great cocktails, but they might all be whiskey based. So obviously you can't just have 6 whiskey, unless you're Grain and Glass. You can't just have 6 whiskey based cocktails. Which obviously you've got to cater for other people and other but you've got to cater for lots of other tastes and imagine there's other people in the bar. So do you have to purposefully think, well, I need one that's based around rum and sweet. I need one that's based on this, and it's always going to be a similar sort of vibe on the list.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we talk about it as like spirit saturation on menus. For a very long time, bartenders only liked working with fucking rum, and I don't know why. It's just the tiki bartender mentality, which is fine. Like, don't get me wrong, I love a good daiquiri. The only thing that's better than a daiquiri is a daiquiri topped with a little bit of champagne. Nice. But
does it come with trends though? Because, you know, like, rum became fashionable for a while, then now gin.
Gin's very consumer led though, right? Like, gin. Okay, I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, I like gin, but God, my God, I'm fucking bored of it. Everybody's creative process is different. I don't know how. I mean, I take a lot of external inspiration from okay, I take a bit of inspiration from food, but also like what grows where. I don't know. It's a tough one. It's a real tough one because like trying to explain your creative process is real hard. Like we just try and hit certain gaps. We like on a menu, like make sure there's one delicious gin drink and then maybe a gin sour as well. So we've got both ends of the spectrum with the gin. Yeah, I don't know. Honestly, it's a constantly moving beast. It's a real tough one, but we just try and have balance. Like I said, we can't have 6 whiskey drinks. I mean, we can do, and if they're delicious whiskey drinks,
I'll have all 6.
Yeah, exactly. But it's this whole thing of like people have these like perceived ideas of what alcohols they do and don't like, whereas a cocktail is about the sum of all the parts, not just that one ingredient, right? It's like the whole spaghetti bolognese analogy. When my mum used to make me spaghetti bolognese when I was younger, if I could see the onions in it, I'd be like, fuck no, I ain't drinking that. I ain't eating that. So she just cut the onions up finer, and then I couldn't see them, and I'd eat it because it was like delicious. And people go, oh, that's a tequila drink. I don't like tequila. But then they'll go and have a margarita somewhere. It's like, are you okay? And then similar with whiskey, like, and whiskey's been seen as like a leatherback chair in front of a fire, sipping spirit for old geezers that are super rich. But like realistically, you put something like Glenmorangie in a Cosmopolitan and it fucking slaps. It's like it's changing that this preconceived idea, because alcohol's alcohol, right? Like it gets you drunk exactly the same way. It's not like this, I get drunk, I get angry on whiskey, I get emotional on gin. There's so much more science behind it than that, mental state, hydration. But yeah, people just have these ideas of, especially with tequila, it's like more tequila exists than that one at O'Neill's that's £5 for 5 shots, all right? Literally more exists. It's a huge category. Yeah. So yeah, we just try and have a menu with balance. It's like you wouldn't go to, I don't know, say like you wouldn't go to Carter's or Smoke or Folium and just, every course be can you imagine like 12 courses of chicken? People would be losing their minds, right?
Although then again, I'm also thinking that's a good idea.
Yeah. I was at Bonehead the other night and I think I could have that for every meal of the day.
Yeah, I could easily.
I had the what was it? The chicken ranch sandwich thing.
I haven't
that
had
they had on special. So it wasn't even a burger. Fucking blew my mind. I love what those guys do. They're phenomenal.
I love it since they put the platters on now.
And they've got like a chilled gamay in the fridge. Yes, I want dirty fried chicken and a chilled red wine. Yeah. Put it in my mouth.
Yeah. No, we've had a lot of podcasts talking about Bonehead. Do you have a certain proportions when you're coming up with a drink that you have to have?
Oh yeah, for sure. As in like how much booze you put in it.
Yeah, like percentages of different amounts.
For sure. Like, I mean, there are like, without getting too technical about the whole thing, like there are like certain ABVs you want to hit, or certain ABVs I work to in my head, and like traditionally, I don't know, like an old fashioned would have 60 ml of whiskey in it, which roughly equates to like 2 ounces of booze. But I mean, there's rough ABV, there's rough like measurements you work to, but I think like we all have apps on our phones that work out like drink ABV and all that stuff. It's so easy now, is that you just aim for certain ABVs and you aim for certain balance, because alcohol is, you need to balance alcohol in your drink as well. Like it's not just about sweet and sour, it's about sweet, sour, alcohol, there's bitterness, like it's a whole plethora of stuff, right? So if you taste something and it's just like a really unpleasant slap in the face of alcohol, then yeah, there is way too much in there, which is like everybody's home cocktails, by the way. Like if you say you can make cocktails at home, you can't, like, because unless you're measuring it out properly, I've seen people do it and they're like glug 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 glug, that's enough tequila for my margarita, and then like one squeeze of a lime wedge and you're like, okay, that's gonna end badly. Yeah, I mean, without getting too technical, but there are so many different like levels of how you can look at it as well. There are obviously the cures, there's all homemade stuff. Like we're really lucky that at the bar we're going to have like a rotovap and a centrifuge, so we're going to be doing a lot of in-house distilling, we're going to be doing a lot of in-house like splitting and spinning and loads of fun stuff.
So you made your own, you famously made your own Guinness vermouth, didn't you?
Yeah, well that was inspired by a guy that did it for competition in world class. But yeah, I remember the Guinness vermouth. That was really, really tasty. Made a completely crystal clear old fashioned. I think that was one of my favourite ones. Is it literally just looked like a glass of water. Like I said, we love a shit pun, so we called it clearly an old fashioned. And, it was like Macallan. It was like some bonkers Macallan Woodford, all redistilled, so it come out completely clear. And that's what I mean. Like you can have fun with these crazy old liquids, but at the end of the day, having a drink is about it being fun. So it's that perception. Like you look at it, looks like a glass of water, drink it, and you're like, what? It tastes like an old fashioned. That should be brown and murky, or brown and have orange wedge on it, or whatever. Or an orange zest. But yeah, I don't know. It's the whole technical side of making drinks. Something I could talk about for hours, but probably bore everyone.
How much you have to consider the cost?
Oh, all the time, 100%. You'll hear a lot of people. Our whole industry is dictated by our GP, right?
So you make something, and then Matt's like, "Fucking lovely, Tommy," but that's going to cost like 50 quid.
Yeah. Nah, I think that was actually something that was done really well at the Edgbaston back in the day. Luke Pearson, the bar manager at the time. So we always did this thing, which I've always done, or always like to do everywhere I've been and everywhere I've worked. So we have this thing called a Friday night project, which is where you'll get a brief, almost like a competition. And while it's really busy, you have to think about it. Like maybe you've picked a spirit out of a hat or whatever, and you have to like make a drink out of it. And then either at the end of the shift or the next day, you make your drinks and explain why that's your project, right? But a lot of the time, Luke would print out he'd like make a spreadsheet of like every spirit that was either in the hat or whatever. And then he would have the GP margins. So he'd be like, 10 mil is this much at 75% GP. And I think getting taught GP from being quite a novice bartender, it just gives you a way better understanding of how the business works. Like, yeah, drinks can be really expensive. They really can be. But, you know, if you are just aware about how much you put in, like if we're talking about flavor-led bevs and not bevs based on just alcohol to get you pissed, 30 mil of something will be enough for a flavor. 30 milliliters of whiskey will be enough to carry the flavor of whiskey. You know, like you could put, I mean, they'll hate me for fucking saying it, but Ardbeg 10, right? Delicious, smoky, peaty. Like there is literally no need to put any more than 2 drops of that in any cocktail ever.
Yeah, strong
like,
flavors,
strong. Unless you're obviously trying to create something that is championing Ardbeg, right? But like we used to use it in dasher bottles, and it just added that like saline, that beautiful salinity, the smoke, that like funky, that funky Isla single malt flavor. And it's just about like understanding these, and then you can work around pricing. And if you're, like I said, truly creating flavor-led creative bevs instead of bevs to get people pissed, you can create something delicious for a fair price. And that's, you know, something I've always been a massive advocate of, is that like people need to feel like they're getting value for money. I love going down to London. I was down in London the other day, went to the Savoy, just got the American bars just reopened, got a good friend of ours, Chelsea Bailey, she's just taken over as head bartender. But my God, the first drink on the menu was 60 quid, plus service, 12.5%. And it's a classic hotel bar, right? And luckily, you know, I doubt Chelsea will ever listen, but she comped our drinks. Thank you very much, Chelsea. But, you know,
you did too, that costs
Yeah, it's mad. So I'm a big advocate of a cocktail in a bar like ours, and it's in this area. It's very similar to Couch as well. It's a conversation we had all the time. Is that a bev for us should never go above £10. Yeah. This idea of getting 2 delicious cocktails in crystal glassware on block ice, beautifully like presented, brought to the table by nice people for under 20 quid. I think that's banging. I think that's absolutely banging. I just think if you get taught it from a young age as a bartender, it's always in the back of your head. So imagine a chef just walking up and going, yeah, so what we're going to do is got all this Wagyu, and then we're going to do something with this. I don't know. I am actually, I can't think of anything because I'm actually a terrible chef. I burn beans on toast. Like there are so many times at Couch, people are, oh, you must be like really good in the kitchen. Honestly, ask my wife. I'm shite. Like if it ain't a pot noodle, I'm fucking it up. Yeah. Price is always something that we do have to think about, but at a certain point we have to take a bit of, in my opinion, a bit of a bite from the high-end wine market and start where we can. If your venue's busy enough, or if there are certain things you've got on there that you're not going to make the greatest GP on, just start looking at cash margin. I'd rather sell 5 of something at maybe a 50% margin than no one buy any because it's at a 75% margin. Percentage isn't going in your till, cash is. So as long as you sort of like have it in the back of your mind, you're always going to be able to give people value for money with delicious drinks, in my opinion. Yeah,
of course. Well, you've got the cocktails. I'm presuming the Guinness you're going to on tap is the best Guinness that could possibly be sold anywhere.
I am so fucking excited.
I can imagine. I'm excited because I love Guinness. It's so rare to get a really good one.
I mean, that comes down to the ethos behind Eve, Matt, and myself about like when we do start the project, when we do eventually do something, we're gonna have stuff in there that we would honestly drink. Like when I go out, I fucking love smashing a Guinness and a Jameson. Like,
it's a good mix.
Yeah.
Isn't it? It's something about the two. That
And
no other whiskey works.
It's bonkers. I mean,
Powers,
yeah,
Powers
Green
works.
Spot,
It's just that Jameson.
Do you know what? That's like Jacob from Couch's party trick. He'd just disappear to the bar and just come back with more shots of Jameson. I'm like, thanks, Jacob. I love you, but fuck, we're getting wasted. So this idea that so many people have like they've not been shocked, but have like almost taken a like really when we say that like we're doing high end bevs, we're doing delicious not high end wine, but just delicious wine, and then we've got Stella unfiltered and Guinness on draft. They're like, you can kind of see it clock in their head, and the famous thing is, oh, you've got wife beer on draft, and it's like, okay, go back to the fucking Stone Ages. Like, I reckon if you were to blind taste a lot of people on mainline lagers across all of the brands, Stella would easily be the top performing, easy. And it's a big thing that we have, that we talk about is like, good liquid is good liquid. Like, our wine program is not a natural wine program. It's not an organic wine program. There's a mix of everything. We wouldn't truly be true to our ethoses if we weren't selling what we thought was just good juice. I think Stella's good juice. I think Guinness is good juice. We're going to have a rotating spirit selection. So when we sell it, say if we get Powers in, once a bottle of Powers is gone, we should get something else that's delicious in so that it's different next time someone comes in. I can't, honestly, that first pint of Guinness. So we're putting the line twice through the filter, through the cooler as well. So it's going to be like regular Guinness, but extra cold. It's going to, honestly, it's going to be cool. And we're like, we're in a bit of a battle with the brands at the moment. They want us to serve it in branded glassware, or they won't put it in. We have these beautiful, the Camden Hells glasses, the real thick dumples. So imagine that, but the thinnest, most beautiful glass. Like, it almost, you can't feel it when you pick it up, but it's still like this like fucking chalice. With just like a crystal Guinness in it, or like the perfect Stella. And we're going to knife it as well. We're going to, the whole knife on the top of the Stella, that's happening. We're doing everything.
The new Guinness glasses are shit though. Like, do you know the best Guinness? I've got one, haven't I? It's not a straight one.
The gold.
When you just ask us, we'll do branding. Just give us them glasses.
Well, the only thing is about having Guinness not in branded glasses is that I am partial to playing the Guinness game. I do love it, and that if I don't win or if I don't get it right, I will buy another Guinness until I get it right. Yeah. So
this is confusing me now because I'm going to come in for cocktails and be like, no, actually the Guinness is too good. I've got to drink it.
Yeah, well that's the point, right? Like the name Passing Fancies, it's a name of it's a John Wayne song, who's like a West Coast rapper on a label called Stone Story. The idea of Passing Fancies is that like time is inevitable, right? Like, it marches on and tastes just fluctuate throughout time. Like, olives, right? Some weeks I love olives. Then next week I'm like, fuck olives. I hate olives and never have one again. And then a week later I'm like, oh, partial to an olive. Like, things come in and out of our lives, and it's that we shouldn't be mad about it when they are or they aren't. Like, shit just changes. So if you want to come in and you feel like a Guinness and a whiskey, or you feel like a glass of delicious, I don't know, fucking Greek white wine, or you want to start smashing through some cocktails, go for it. Like, we, without sounding too salesy, like, our job is to make it as easy as possible for you to spend your money. So,
so it's not just bookings only, sit down at a private bar. You can just sit at the bar and get a Guinness.
We've got 14 bar seats, and I reckon I can get the capacity of the bar to 20 people on the bar at any one time. I want a big bar. Something we try it. We did at Couch's bar is huge.
I love sitting. If I can sit at the bar, that's where I want to sit. Is at the bar.
And the seats are comfy. And,
you get to see everything. You haven't got to do anything. Drinks are there. It's perfect.
So, the whole idea of the venue. So you guys have seen it, right? Is that the bar is actually at 90 mil. So we're not having that classic thing where you make the drinks and then you serve the drinks onto the bar top. It's all one level. And the whole reason it was designed like that is because I am like a firm believer. When I was younger and I was a shitbag and I was going to house parties, and now that I'm a refined 31-year-old going to house parties, the party is always in the kitchen, right? People always congregate to the kitchen. And that's how we've tried to make the bar. So it's this like huge kitchen bar top type situation. The back bar is the same height, so there's no stepped back bars. Obviously we have some shelves of booze and that, but it's this idea that if you come to the venue, you should want to sit at the bar, and then the atmosphere radiates from the bar. Obviously we've got tables for, I don't know, if you're on a fucking date and you want to sit in the corner, or we've got these big communal tables if you're with loads of mates and you want to catch up. But like, I'm a big advocate for that. Yeah, that bar experience is what people want.
That's
right?
my favourite thing about going to Ireland is you can actually just sit at the bar, and nearly everywhere you can just do that and sit. And it is comfy, and they've thought about it.
Yeah.
You usually get chatting to strangers.
Yeah. And that's the whole thing. And then you're like, oh my god, I was so fucked up last night. Do you remember chatting to that guy about that fucking? It's like, it's funny, man. That's like,
Well, that's it at Couch. I'd never gone in there and not ended up talking to someone that I didn't know when I've been sat at the bar every time.
I met so many people at Couch that I consider friends, and they were guests over the bar. And that's the way it should be. Like, I was out with one of them on Saturday night. We went to Centrala for a new like skate premiere thing. It's like I said, it's a community thing, right? But yeah.
So it's been under wraps for a while. It's not just drinks. There's going to be food.
There is food, yes. Hopefully delicious food. It's actually the part of the project where I'm completely stepping into a new thing. So we're working with the wonderful Dan, who is Qbox in Harborne. Sort of knew him from back in the day when he was at Simpsons and I was working at the Edgbaston. And if any of you don't know Qbox, it's Michelin fine dining level cooking on a like takeaway platform. It's phenomenal stuff. And yeah, essentially he's writing us 10-course menu, not 10 tasting course, but 10 plate menus, hyper seasonal, rotating on a regular basis. And essentially he preps, we get it into the kitchen, and then the whole team does, monthly refreshers with Dan on finishing and plating. And it's what I was talking to you about earlier, about when we get a problem, we don't get emotional and stressed out about it. We problem solve our way through it. And we did have a chef involved at the start, a lovely guy called Alex, and he's, for other reasons, decided to do his own thing. Yeah, we were like, okay, cool, like how do we get past this? And we sat down with Dan, we looked at the menu, we looked at how feasible it would be in the bar and how the training would go, and we're just running with it. And, it's stuff from, like I said to you guys, like beef fat potatoes and goat's cheese beignets, which are like your bar snacks that you like, imagine having like an ice cold gin martini and then just this like little delicious goat's cheese beignet. Oh my god, what a time to be alive. But then also stuff, moving into like 2 veggie dishes or like a ricotta and beetroot salad, moving into like more substantial ox cheek, with like on pomme puree, and pork belly stuff, and then moving on to 2 desserts. So this idea that like you can have everything, you can come in for a meal and have a glass of water if you want and still have a great time, or you can come in, sink a million daiquiris, and then just smash some beignets and then have a pear choc ice at the end.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
What made you want to like put that much effort into the food? Because Tommy, you could have opened up like a tiny little dingy thing, like you were saying, and people would have come.
Yeah.
Let's face it. Like, I know you weren't admit it because you're very modest, but like
queuing out the door for Stella's.
you could have that, and people would have came to anything because you've got that. Everyone trusts you. They've got that relationship. They know what you've done. So you could have easily have just either not bothered doing food or just stuck any old shit in, an afterthought. And it's clearly not an afterthought. This isn't an afterthought.
No,
this
not
is
at all.
equal to the drinks menu.
The fucking amount we spent on the kitchen, Jesus Christ. I thought bars were expensive.
Why did you do that?
So you actually kind of took one point you actually kind of touched on. So food is always an afterthought in bars. Like I will not say that it isn't. Like it's always let's build the bar, let's build the beverage program. Shit, we need some snacks. And then because of that, it really limits what you can do food-wise because you've not thought about where's a little prep space for some food going? Where's the induction plate going? Like we've not got any extraction, so it limits us doing this, that, and the third. So it always ends up dripping nuts and olives, right? Yeah. Nuts and olives or whatever. And something we tried at Couch, which went down really well, was the little couch potato things, which is like, holding potatoes at a certain temp. So cook the starch in butter and stuff, but it wouldn't like over mush them if they were in there for a super long period of time, right? 1, it was always an afterthought. I didn't want that at all. And then 2, I've always wanted to work with food and drink. I feel like I said to you about this idea of having a martini and beignets, like they go hand in hand. Food and drink is like I'm not saying that, there should be, I mean, Rob does them really well, but like, I mean, I'm sure there are lots of people out there that does them really well, but like how the Wilderness will have like their tasting menu and they'll have cocktail courses mixed in between the wine and stuff. I'm not saying that like food's made to be drank alongside cocktails, but they're so complimentary, man. Like good friend of mine, Josh, who, you guys all know, this idea, we were talking about this idea ages ago. We made it at his, and it was just a banging carbonara next to a literally an ice cold freezer gin martini was like the best thing ever. Like, you know, that fattiness of the lardons, of the pecorino. Sorry, guanciale, isn't it? It's not, you know, I'd say lardons. and then like a serious, like ice cold, -6 degrees, 12-1 gin martini. Just like, how is that not something you want to put in your face? And also, I just think it's from a more business level. If it keeps bums on seats as well, I'm happy with that. Like, you know, if people can order, if us three were going out for a drink and we're smashing back with 4 drinks in, and one of us goes, oh, we're really hungry, where should we go to eat? And you're like, oh, Pedro's does pizza, this place does that, this place does that. And it's like, oh no, these guys actually have like a reputable reputation that is executed to a very good quality. You know, let's get some potatoes, let's get the ox cheek, let's get the salad, and let's get, I don't know, and you can just pick. The whole idea is that they are plates to just bang into. It's not starters, mains, desserts at all by any stretch of the imagination. It's just plates to just get your face in that are delicious. And if that then keeps you there, I mean, I probably shouldn't say it's a responsible service of alcohol. Then you have another 4 drinks and then go on your merry way. That's just made me a lot of money, right? Like, hopefully that sort of
save the person having to get up and fucking move anyway, and I'd rather not do that.
Exactly. And by no means, well, I mean, not that I'm selling myself short, but like, it was just trying to find chefs. We were talking about recruitment earlier. Trying to find chefs in this day and age, I honestly just couldn't afford them. Like, I could not afford them. And I reached out to Dan, and we sorted this sort of thing out. And I feel like this is a better one. We get to collaborate with someone who I respect. I think his food is delicious, and you know, he has an outstanding quality that he holds himself to. But he also gets to dip his feet into another project and something else that's going on, and then we start talking about this like collaborative snowball about just 2 brands. You know, you see it in the fashion industry all the time, brands that work together to do really cool stuff, but then still have their own, you know, stalwart reputation of this is what I do, this is what I do. And I just think there's room for that in hospitality. If at the end of the day, if the guests like it and they're happy with it, then fuck yeah, we're all happy. Everyone's making money, everyone's drunk, and everyone's got food.
With regards to cocktails, is it just what you've created on the menu, or can someone come in and go, I want a dirty martini, please?
Oh, 100. I think that is I don't know if that's industry gaslighting to guests that we never were able to do that, but I think it was.
Because frankly, a dirty martini is one of the greatest things on the planet.
It's actually really funny. Darren, who used to own the Edgbaston, you know, RIP, not Darren, the Edgbaston. His favourite drink, every time we went somewhere new, he would order a shaken, dirty vodka martini with the olive in it, and that was, if the bartender screwed his face up, he would just enjoy it so much more. Because I don't know, it's a drink that people seem to like. Oh, I don't want a dirty vodka gin martini. But I mean, if it's like I said, if it's good liquid, it's good damn liquid, you know. But no. So yeah, of course, the way the menu is going to be structured. So we have 12 drinks, and we are really taking a sort of bite and being inspired by how chefs work with their menus and like British-led seasonality, and then reaching out for anything else, right? So the list will be 12 drinks long, the 12 cocktails, and let's say it's a forced rhubarb season. So on the menu there will be, what we'll do is we'll get rhubarb in, and then we'll manipulate it, and we'll do whatever we want with it. So we've got a stock of rhubarb products. So we'll distill some, make some rhubarb gin or vodka or rhubarb whiskey, whatever. We'll make a cordial, we'll clarify some, we'll fat wash some, we'll do like everything in our realms to make loads of cool rhubarb stuff. And then over the next 4 weeks or whatever, with rhubarb in season, we'll just keep doing what we're doing, and we'll make, I don't know, say a rhubarb colada, right? Like rhubarb gin, fresh rhubarb juice, coconut cream. It's one of the most delicious things I think I've ever tried. Rhubarb obviously carries a metric ton of acidity, so you just replace it with the lime, all that stuff. So yeah, we will just have this rotating idea of bevs that when all that rhubarb's then gone, we're like, okay, what's in season now? And obviously we won't be doing it as a la minute as that. There'll be a program that's, you know, we're looking ahead, but it's this idea that we're capturing something in season and we're just making delicious stuff with it. And then when that's out of season, we do something different. And the 12 drinks on the menu will be all different things that are in season. And it might be, okay, it's really, you obviously can't really get any citrus here in the UK. So we're not saying that we're bound by, we're only using, British Isles-led products, but we start our creative process internally and then we look externally. So what do we have delicious here? What's in season here at the moment? And then we move on. But with that being said, as I probably skirted around the question a little bit, there are actually 3 types of drinks that I identify in the industry. 3 types of cocktails, right? Classics, pina colada, martini, Negroni, espresso martini, all the delicious ones, right? Then there are twisted classics. So they are X flavor classic. So during lockdown, rum and raisin, old fashioned.
No,
so,
that was great.
Yeah.
That was so nice.
So it's a conceptualized bev in the idea that we've considered what it's made from, but it vaguely is reminiscent of a structure of a classic. So, okay, the rum and raisin old fashioned was an old fashioned led bev, but it was, it was a delicious Demerara rum. It was PX sherry, then it was reduced PX sherry that was then bumped back up with Demerara and stuff like that, right? So that's drink number 2 is like flavor or twisted classics, and then 3 is completely conceptualized bevs. So think about the stuff that Rob Wood does, that Nightjar do, that all these like crazy bevs that I don't know. One could be called Washed Away. I don't fucking know. I'm trying to think of cocktail names. It's actually really hard.
I can imagine.
All right, When Life Gives You Melons, right? That was a drink that I did ages ago for World Class. And that doesn't resemble any structure. It's just a completely bonkers, off the wall. You couldn't taste it and be like, oh, that's like a daiquiri, or oh, that's like this, because it's completely a smorgasbord. It's like a fucking Moe painting, right? Like God knows what it is. So they're the 3 styles of drinks, from classics to completely conceptualized. I think that, personally, from my opinion, that are out there. And okay, the professionals may argue and say that's not true, whatever. But on our menu, all 3 of those styles are going to live harmoniously. So at any one point, you can come in, because the menu's been printed in-house on like a coconut card so that we have the flexibility. So you can come in and, I don't know, one week there might be, a Negroni on there. There might be loads of different stuff on there, but there will always be classic bevs like littered through the menu. And hopefully that'll let people know, and obviously we'll tell them that, yeah, of course you can have classic bevs, because not only does that let them have classic bevs, it also gives us a platform to have to teach our bartenders how to do classic drinks. Because you get, in the bartending community, you get like people that are super creative about making drinks, but then they have absolutely no idea how to make a fog cutter. And you're like,
Well, there must be like a baseline of knowledge.
there is. And I mean, you can't know every classic because there are so many dumbass obscure ones. Like, I don't know, some of the shit Simon Difford makes up, it's hilarious. Yeah, I don't know. We want to be as open as possible and, have classic drinks, have completely conceptualized drinks, because they're all going to be delicious because they're coming from us. And that's where we talk about ourselves more as a brand than a bar, is that like anything you see our stamp or our name on, it will be that sign of, quote unquote Louis Vuitton quality. Like you see, like it's going to be a good bev. It's going to be a good plate. It's going to be a good fucking time at the end of the day. That's kind of what we want to go for.
So you're having music as well, I take it then?
Oh,
so
absolutely.
what sort of vibe we're going for the music? Just eclectic sort of mix?
Yeah. I mean, it's tough. Like,
not just hardcore hip hop.
No, because we're all massive hip hop heads. Like it's tough, but it like dips in and out of like, I mean, all of that like really sort of really jazzy, soulful, like northern soul style, like early 90s hip hop to new age hip hop to, a bit of funk in there. Like we're definitely not just like, you're going to come in and it's just going to be fucking Kendrick and Schoolboy Q shouting at you all day. like absolutely not. But obviously, it's something Jacob and Danny at the Couchers, so like they were like so protective over their playlists, because you have to have different playlists, right? Like Wednesday night playlist should not be the same as a Saturday night playlist. It's like that's completely wrong. Like the vibe at 8 o'clock on a Wednesday is way different to the vibe at 10:30 on a Saturday, right? So yeah, it's not going to just be like banging like hip hop that the bass makes the windows wobble. It's a beautiful mix of soul, jazz, funk, hip hop.
And what time can we drink at your bar till?
Midnight. We are licensed till 1, but I just think with the area, to be honest, there's a lot of late night venues around us. There's no reason for us to be open any later.
Well, the venue next door, where we are now, this is what, 3, 4?
3 a.m. I think they're going for 4, but yeah, I mean, here's 3, literally next door, NQ64, 3. It's carnage. Like, there's literally no need. And like, for me, selfishly, I can get all my guests as fucked up as possible and then just boot them next door. And I don't know. I think it's something the Edge Baston taught me, is that there, especially in like a table service venue, the theoretical amount of like money you'd make say staying open till 2 a.m. compared to the potential drama or breakages of glasses that are quite expensive, or whatever, there's maybe not. It actually balances in the idea of like not being open that late, because it's actually not that much worth it. It's so we're gonna trial it. I'm a big advocate for opening till midnight. I think midnight is perfect for around here for us, but we'll play. We want to be 6 days a week, but we're just Wednesday to Sunday when we open to start. But ideally, I'd love to be 7 days a week if the business is there, but everyone should be able to get a good drink and a plate no matter what day it is. It's just a real Birmingham thing. Hey, you hear about the Monday Birmingham curse, and it's like, I think the only place that destroys it is goddamn Albert Schloss, and I don't know how the fuck they do it. I'm there on a Monday. Definitely, I'm probably still there from industry on the Sunday night.
Well, that's it. We record usually on Mondays, and we used to go for dinner on Mondays. There's only a handful of places we could actually eat on a Monday.
I completely understand, and I think that's why I selfishly want to do it, is because Couches was down in Sturchley, but for the last 2.5 years, I live in the Drury Quarter, and I have done since I've moved to Birmingham. Trying to find somewhere to eat on a Monday is like fuck. It's like pulling teeth. And that's why everyone jokes. They say I'm always at fucking Tierra, and I'm like, because it's actually delicious and it's open on a Monday. But other than that, I can't have tacos I can. I 100% can.
That's fine.
Is there other place? What's it?
Trentina. Yeah, delicious.
Is that open on Monday?
I don't think so. I think it's only Wednesday. It might be. The boys might kill me for saying this shit, but I don't know. Please check their opening hours. But Trentina's lovely as well. It's nice to have like a homely pasta joint in the JQ now. But yeah.
Awesome, man. We're well over an hour.
Oh, sick, yeah.
Done well, man.
Which isn't a problem. You got your questions?
Yeah, man.
So just to finish on a light-hearted note, Carlos, a few questions.
This is all shit we probably spoke about before anyway, so there's nothing new here. What's your favourite TV show?
Oh, favourite TV show? Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah. Is it Brooklyn Nine-Nine? That or Parks and Rec?
Yeah, Parks and Rec.
Yeah.
That's one of my favourites. What's your favourite movie?
Favorite movie is it's either Superbad or I Love You, Man.
Superbad. I remember seeing that in the pictures.
Bro, Superbad is
that's probably the most I've ever laughed at a film. The first time I ever seen it.
Yeah. I saw it in a cinema with a girl I actually ended up dating for a very long time, and we literally were Superbad in the cinema. Yeah. It's one of them.
That was like Pineapple Express.
Yeah, Pineapple Express.
Funny.
As well, for me, I Love You, Man. On the surface, great film, whatever. But it's a film about two dudes that are just trying to find platonic male friendship in their 40s. How fucking heartwarming is that? What a time.
What's your favourite band or artist?
My favourite artist is a late RIP producer called Jay Dilla. He's made some of the most beautiful music in the world, in my opinion. And singer, I guess, would probably be... probably MF Doom, I guess. Yeah, he's just RIP as well, but he's just got something so soulful about it. Something that so soulful about his voice. You don't know he's just great.
Yeah. What's your favourite? It's been very, very specific. What's your favourite spirit? Down to the bottle.
Down to the bottle. Holy shit.
I had a few. That's a tough one.
Yeah, that is a really tough one, dude.
It's got to be a whiskey, I thought.
Yeah. Honestly, it's Glenmorangie 10-year-old.
Yeah.
It's one of those brands that people are like, oh my god, but my dad used to drink Glenmo, but it stood the test of time because frankly it's fucking delicious. Yeah, and it's shottable as well. This idea that you can't shot single malt whiskey, just get in the bin, just get it down here and stop moaning.
Just drink it.
Yeah.
What's your favourite beer?
Stella,
obviously. What's your favourite big fast food chain?
It's probably got to be Mackey's, right? There is nothing more beautiful in life than just...
A lot of people have said Mackey's.
A fucking cheeseburger, innit? That shit is so consistent, man.
That's
iconic. Yeah.
I think everyone that says it as well, that's the reason they say it's just the consistency of it everywhere.
Yeah, because you go to Burger King and KFC and the scope of difference of what you're getting changes massively, innit?
What do you normally order?
Oh man, I'm a simple Big Mac dude, and then if I'm hungover, 20 chicken nuggets, man. Oh, 100%. I'm not a fan of this. What was that fucking TikTok sensation where people were putting a shot of coffee in their milkshake?
What?
You not see that? Nah, I'm not. But I don't even know how to work TikTok. Fuck that noise.
Fries in
rum,
the milkshake.
Yeah. The fries in the milkshake. So I actually tried a drink from a bartender at Fox and Chance, Blaze, and he made a cocktail for a competition where it was like poutine with your chips, but it was inspired by the dipping. Oh, it was amazing. Yeah, big up you, Blaze. That was sick.
What's the best drinking city in the world other than Birmingham?
Ooh, that is a loaded question for a bartender. Barcelona is so sick.
Yeah, Barcelona's awesome.
London's great because it has a few like lighthouse places, but other than that, I actually don't. It's not that fun to me to walk around. I'm sure there's some great pubs and that down there. I mean, before I moved to Birmingham, I think I've been to London 4 times or some shit. I rarely go south, but obviously work I go now. New York's great, but it's just a load of old fucking shit, like people living off their reputations, Death and Co and that. Do you know what? Honestly, I'm actually going to say Perth, Western fucking Australia.
Something I knew you were going to say.
Yeah. That's where I grew up. That's where I learned to bartend. There's a pub that used to do fucking schooners for $5 by like Ferrell. That's where me and the missus where we met. Fucking Mechanics Institute. Like there was some. Honestly, Perth was a sick drinking city. It really is. It really is. Everyone will go, oh, Melbourne, Sydney. No, fuck that. There's too many English people there.
We're laughing because my brother literally lives in Sydney and our mate lives in Melbourne.
Yeah, no one goes.
Exactly the
Awesome, Tommy. This has been real fun, man.
We've been talking about it for a while now.
Yeah.
I know how busy you are.
With COVID and busy with couch and then.
You know what? The timing works out well to do it on the new bar.
Yeah, I mean, thanks for having me so much on, lads. I hope I haven't waffled shite too much. I can't wait to have you down at the venue. You just get some cold fucking beers out or a glass of water and some cold beer.
Awesome. Cheers, Tommy.
Yeah, cheers, boys.